Working as a server, you'll quickly learn that black people are the most annoyingly entitled people you'll ever have to deal with. I used to work at Waffle House, and this same black lady came in every single day, and when I tell you she was the most entitled, broke person you'll ever meet, she would police the entire process. She came in there every day, got a sausage, egg, and cheese grit bowl. She wanted her eggs cooked like they were made at the house. She wanted her sausage burnt just the right type of way. She wanted the cheese melted just right. She wanted the grits to be the perfect consistency. When she walked in every day, I would have to show her the grits to make sure she agreed with how they were made. And she wouldn't just tell me what she wanted. She would sit on the high counter right next to the cook and police the entire process. As the cook is cooking and we're in a busy store, she's sitting there trying to tell him specific ways he needs to be flipping the eggs, telling him to hurry up and take off the sausage before it gets cooked too much. She would always rush me every day because she had to get to work. Like, I give a and it's like I would be cool with all this if she ever tipped me anything. But no, nothing. She would be my most annoying customer of the day, and she never tipped me $1. No matter how nice I was, never $1. This is where I kind of started to be racist, I guess, when it comes to serving black people. I can't. I'm not going to treat y'all as good as I treat everyone else because I know I'm going to get treated like, and y'all aren't going to tip me $1. Don't get me started on if a family of black people walked in. Oh my God, I would damn near start crying. Every other server there, like, can y'all please serve this table? Please. I do not feel like it.
Yeah, he's not wrong at all. And I was trying to stop it sooner, but I was trying to find a good way. But he's not lying at all, because as someone who came from the service industry myself, I've worked at IHOP, I've worked at Gringo's Mexican Kitchen, Azteca Mexican restaurant in Seattle, Washington. I've worked at Moe's Irish. I mean, I've worked everywhere, dealt with wine, dealt with all sorts and types of people. And I can definitively say that I got to a point in my career when I was serving that I said, yeah, I know this is not for me anymore, because I would start paying people 20, 40, 60, all the way up to $100 just to take this table off my hands. It looked like they weren't going to tip. I felt like they weren't going to tip, and at the end of the day, they did not tip. Now, I've been wrong in this regard as well, but that's the beauty of people. We never know who's going to tip and who's not going to tip, but the overall consensus around black people is that they're not going to tip, and that's straight up and down. I can't get no lower than this. I can't be more straight up than this. I myself have to take great care to make sure that I tip over the amount. Okay, maybe you guys don't even know what to do and what to tip. Okay, let's just say you guys spend $100 out of the restaurant. Okay, standard practice is that you tip 20% of the bill. So you tip $20. Okay, easy, right? If you spend $80, how much are you supposed to tip? $15. You guys are getting it. You can tip $15 to $17. All right, $60. You spend $60. I'm tipping at least $12 to $14. $12 to $14. That's usually in that standard practice. It's really not that difficult, but everyone wants to make this issue so big. I'm not going to tip. I know personally a few people who are not tipping, and I can never understand it, because why would you go into a restaurant when you know you cannot tip, when you know you don't have money to tip? You would be much better off. You would be much better off. You would be much better off if you cooked at home, save some money, and not spent money for a couple months, because obviously you're in a terrible position to be going out to a restaurant anyways. So why would you even want to put yourself in that position? And the reality is, from someone who's worked in restaurants, to someone who's trained salesman, to someone who has worked in every single field when it comes to service-based businesses, people don't like to deal with black people in general. And this just goes back to the black fatigue argument that we've been having, a discussion that we've been having on this channel, because again, this is another small conversation that people don't want to have because of the fear that they might get canceled. And this gentleman right here, I think, got canceled as well, because this has been popping off for a week now. I'm late to the party. What would you say, like a week? Yeah, just about a week. And so the reality is, I mean, people then took his page down, took the next page down. He's being as honest as possible. And even if I said this, I probably would have been canceled on TikTok. And I say a lot of risky things on TikTok. Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, follow my TikTok, link in the description box below. But he's being honest, he's being raw, and you can see the emotion in his face when he's talking about this, because the reality is, this is a fact. This is a known fact in the industry. And even strippers and prostitutes and people, the women who work on the street, they have a saying that says no AAs, no African Americans. Some sugar babies don't even date black people because of the fear that they're not going to get an even exchange. Charleston White famously said, a fair exchange is not a robbery. A fair exchange is not a robbery. So if I'm giving you great service and you're paying me back by not tipping or not giving me something equal for my efforts, because a tip can be anything. It could be a watch, it could be money, it could be whatever. But you choose on purpose not to give us anything, and you wonder why your reputation is the way it is. And I'm being honest here. I'm one of the only ones who's going to be as honest as possible when it comes to these industries and these people within these industries that I've worked in. I've worked in roofing. I've worked in AC. I've worked in sales. Even in sales, they have a prejudice against black people. Why? Because they don't necessarily trust them. They're not necessarily stable. They're always going to give them attitude. The only exception to this is black women, because black women usually tend to make a irrational decision when it comes to buying things, because of course they're women. You know, women influence over 83% of the market, the things that we buy on an everyday basis, the car we drive, the haircut we get, everything. Going back to the original argument, if we're looking at this in totality, black people overall have a negative stereotype. Does not matter what industry they're in. It doesn't matter what we're doing. Let's get some more of this video, see what else he has to say.
You're so annoying. You're so fucking annoying, and you're so entitled, and you're so rude. And it would be okay if you're giving me some money, because Mexicans, they are super entitled and rude as well. But you know what? They always get me a tip. You guys hate when people talk about racism and shit, but it's like, bro, it's just pattern recognition. If every black person that walks in is ghetto and treating me rude every day, then obviously I'm gonna say that black people are rude and ghetto, because that's how y'all treat me every fucking day. Every black person that walked in, it never failed. And I hated it. I hated that it never failed, because I would always hope to find one black person, one black family that treated me any differently, that treated me nice.
And that's it. That is it right there. People are out here wanting to have hope. People are out here thinking and praying and hoping that there are some decent black people around, because the only thing that they see in their current environment is niggas acting like niggas. And I hate to say that word, because it's so easy to make content just dropping the N word here and there, just dropping a curse word every 2 seconds, and I will curse when I need to. But the reality is, it's so frustrating, and I've even said it myself. Negroes are the worst of the worst, crabs in a barrel as they call it. They don't want to see anybody else be successful. They don't want to see you go further than them, because then indirectly that's a consequence. Hang on real quick, let me stop this. But they don't want to see you go further than them, because indirectly that's a competition, or that's a consequence for them. So if one person makes it, they want to pull you back down. Let's go back to the hood. Let's go do this. Let's go shoot dice. Let's go play the video game. Not knowing that that's how Lil Snoop died. That's how Nipsey Hussle died. That's how what's his name, Young Dolph died. All these pseudo celebrities in the community that go back and try to give back to the hood always end up dead. P&B Rock was at a chicken and waffle before he was gunned down for his chains. Like, we got to stop with this blasphemy. It's not just about the tipping, it's about the culture as a whole, because the reality is, if you can't change the culture, you can't change the individual people, you're never going to change. And this is why black people have been at the bottom of the barrel for the past 400 years. Because even though we're not in change, we're still enslaved. Even though we're not in change, we're still enslaved. We listen to commenters like Dr. Umar. We listen to commenters like Al Sharpton. We listen to preachers like Jamal Bryant and Pastor Todd, whatever his name is. And we worship these people like gods. We worship this black statue that they got in New York like gods. But we still can't tip. We still can't assimilate to the American cultural norms. We still can't do things in a succinct and justified manner. There's always an excuse. There's always somebody else to blame. And I'm just wondering when we're going to stop and we're going to come to reality that if we don't get our stuff together, we are going to get extinct. They already have no problem going to Planned Parenthood and deleting on the boys. When they ask me, oh, where did all the men go? Where did all the good men go? Well, CGI has this famous saying that they're at the bottom or in the trash of Planet Parenthood. And I stick by that. That's where I'm going to stop it for today, guys. What do you guys think about the content? Do you guys agree black people don't tip? Do you guys agree that we're going off the deep end? Let me know down in the comment section below. I want to see you guys' thoughts. I love you. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.